You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I'm your host, Shanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow, manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, Sunshines, and welcome to a new episode of Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. My name is Shanel Scott. I am your host and your spiritual tour guide, and we're going to talk today about divination tools. I am teaching an upcoming oracle card reading / a little bit of tarot. I'm going to throw some in there, of course, in person in Dundas, Ontario on Wednesday, June 26th. And I love teaching about oracle cards. I think they're a really simple, easy tool to use to help you to build your intuition and build your skills. And so it's one I teach a lot to students, clients, and offering workshops. But I thought it would be fun if we actually talked about all the different divination tools out there, because there are so many. Divination tools are really, they're a tool. Think about building. We need tools to build. They are a tool to help build our skill, our intuition. And they kind of give us like a foundation, someplace to start, so that we're not having to like pull it out of thin air. For a lot of people when they're starting, that's a really big struggle. That takes huge trust to just be like, here's the message that we are receiving, right? So by using a tool, you could think of it like validation. You could think of it as, just something to help you to get to where you need to go. It's almost like that spark for your intuition to light that fire to be able to pull the information that you need. So there's lots of different ways you can use divination tools, and really use them or not, it's totally your choice. Everybody has their favorites. There's a handful that I use, that I have used over the years, some that are more prevalent, some that I use in multiple different ways, but let's dive in. I kind of divided things out into where I think things go. They kind of like group together a little bit. So that's what I've done, is I've created kind of this grouping piece of it. So let's start with our cards, because that's what I love. I love oracle cards, a little bit of tarot cards, and we'll get into that deeper next episode when we actually talk about the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards. So if you want to hear that whole spiel, you got to come back next week, and I'll share that one next week with you. But oracle cards and tarot cards are a form of divination tool where we have a deck of cards that we shuffle and choose cards, and those cards help us to tap into that intuition and give a message. They are, well, Oracle's a little bit easier than tarot, but they are really simple to use. If you can shuffle cards and kind of tap into what cards you're supposed to choose, and again, don't make it complicated. Don't get all up in your head. It's totally okay to just pick. It's still going to resonate. I promise you. I've been doing this a really long time, and I've been using the oracle cards for like probably at least half my life, if not longer. And they're a beautiful, beautiful tool, simple and easy. And you can find a lot that have different themes, different purposes. And you can find some crossovers too. Like I love the tarot cards from Radley Valentine because they're less traditional. They feel more positive, and they have meanings on the cards, so it just makes it a lot easier to read those tarot than more of a traditional, like a Rider-Waite kind of deck. So That's the starting point. Again, if you want to hear the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards, join me next week. And if you want to learn how to read oracle cards and a little bit of tarot, join me in person at Tessie & Co. on Wednesday, June 26th at 6:30 p.m. Where I'm going to be teaching it in person. I'm so excited. I love this workshop. Okay. In this same kind of category, we can talk about astrology and numerology and palmistry. All of these kind of have a form that we're just tapping into and using it. So palmistry, super easily, is the lines in our hands tell a story. So the gentleman that I saw for palmistry actually inks your hand and has you press it down. And that is beautiful because he doesn't just talk to you. He actually writes little notes on the paper, which was so brilliant for having to remember all the things he was telling me. But all the different lines in our hands mean different things. It can tell us how many times we're going to get married, how many kids we're going to have, how long our life is going to be. It's a fun one. Now, astrology is the use of the planets, the constellations, where things are positioned when we are born, the zodiac, and all of those things have purpose and meaning. The planets, not the patterns. The planets have meanings. The zodiac has meanings. Where they're positioned in your birth chart has meanings. Where they are right now has meanings. So we can use that to get clarity and to divine things as well. Numerology is similar in the sense that it uses numbers. So your birth date, your name, all sorts of things can get taken and transformed into numbers. And when you do it, so for example, your birth date, you would take the number of the day, month, and year, and you would add them together to give you your number, your birth number. So those are typically a 1 through 9. There are a few exceptions to the rule. I just purchased a book called what is it called? You Are the Essential Numerology, You Are the Cosmic Code. Something along those lines. Caitlin, I'll throw it in the show notes, but it's a good book. It's a great one on numerology, and basically it breaks it down. It shows you different things within the numerology system that you can use, and you can use numerology for like choosing when to do things or understand the energy of the month that you're in. It can go really deep. It's quite intriguing, and I've been enjoying that book, reading it and kind of diving in a little bit deeper into some of her podcasts and stuff because it's quite interesting. Same thing as astrology. Astrology is like massive. It's so huge. There's such a deep hole that you can dive into, and it can give you so much information. It's really intriguing. Not my wheelhouse. Like I don't have a deep dive in that one, but I love hearing the astrological things that are going. So those cards, astrology, numerology, palmistry, I kind of clumped them together because they have a similar feel to it. Now, another one that I like is dowsing. I use dowsing more when I'm doing energy work than I use it for day-to-day, but dowsing is really helpful when you are trying to figure out if something is good for you or not, or that your body like is the best for you. So dowsing is using dowsing rods, a pendulum, or your body to get a yes or no answer on something. It will also lead. So like we all know dowsing rods. Dowsing rods were used to help to find water back in the day. So that's dowsing rods. You can do the same thing. You can use dowsing rods when you're looking for something, or you can ask yes and no. You can say cross it for yes, flail it open for no. There's lots of different ways to use dowsing rods. But again, when we're dowsing, we're really kind of asking for a yes or a no. It's a really definitive thing because even when we're going in directions, like trying to locate something, it'll give you a yes or no. Like, is this the right direction? Yes or no. it is very definitive. It has to be yes or no. So you have to be really mindful about how you create questions when using dowsing. Now, I love it for checking for things like when I buy a vitamin supplement, or I'm trying to choose a product that's the best thing for my skin or my nutrition. You can use dowsing, getting a yes and no answer, to be like, is this the best one for me? I've used this for a lot of years. So I'll go in, I take iron supplements, and I will go into the vitamin store and I will hold each one. And I'll ask before I start that I would like the one that is the best for me, that I'm going to absorb with the most ease and have the most benefit for me. And then I will hold them and get a yes or no answer. So you can douse with your body using your whole body, acting like a pendulum, getting a yes or a no answer. It'll give you a maybe too. I'm going to throw that in there. It will give you a maybe too. But when you're dowsing, you really have to clear your mind. You can't have a preconceived notion. My daughter learned this one the hard way. She was trying to learn how to use the pendulum, and she was still trying to control it with her mind. And when you do that, it doesn't move in the same way. So it is really important to clear your mind. It is a challenge to just really be a divine channel instead of trying to direct where you need it to go. So you can do it with your arm, putting your arm out, and then there's a resistance factor for yes and no. So you push down on the arm, and then you have to ask what the body's yes and what the body's no is, and then push down on the arm. And for one answer, you'll have the arm move down, and for another answer, the arm will stay strong. And it's kind of funky to do because you're like, is this really going to work? And it totally does. Now, I have a girlfriend that used to do it with like flicking her fingers, and it's the same thing. It's like a resistance thing. If she got a lot of resistance, then it was one answer. And if she got like very little resistance, it was a different answer. So a couple of different ways to use it. But the nice part is you don't actually have to have a physical tool like dowsing rods or a pendulum when you're in the middle of the grocery store or the vitamin store or wherever you are in Sephora picking, new skincare or a new lipstick even. So that one's a fun one to use. And I teach this one to littles. Like my girlfriend's girls love it. I taught them how to do it, and they're probably like 8 and 10. My daughter's had a pendulum for a long time, and you can make them out of just about anything. So it's fun. The next category is scrying. I have to admit, this isn't one that I really use. This one is you're gazing in and using that gaze. So you really need to get like a really soft gaze. I think I struggle with this one a little bit because I have lazy eyes, and they don't soften as well as I'd like them to do. So it feels more challenging to me to use this divination tool. But basically you just soften your gaze almost like you're looking right through it. And you can do this with water, like a bowl of water, a shiny surface, a mirror, smoke, candle flame, even like a campfire flame. You could use that as well, where you're staring into it and you're just waiting to see things, see what comes up. The next one is casting. And again, there's a few things that kind of fit into this casting category. So this is something that you would like shake up and throw out. We see this in all the witchy movies, and they've got like bones and chicken feet and feathers and all sorts of random things that they'll throw out, and then they read that thing. So you could have trinkets, bones, coins, cowrie shells, all sorts of different things. It's really like a personal kind of thing that you can use for just kind of the random objects that you want to use. But it's a tool of kind of shaking it up and tossing it out, and the way they land tells you something. So it becomes a little more personal. This is also runes fit into this category. Runes are like little tiles, like dominoes, the little tiles or mahjong tiles. They're kind of like that, but instead of being dominoes or mahjong, they have Germanic letters on it. It's from a Germanic language, and they have like letters or symbols on them, and those all represent different things. Same thing, you would shake them up and choose or toss them out and get different answers. And I'm going to say this because it's something that I teach a lot, is with all of these tools, and it really was really came to the surface in the casting tools, is this piece of we all can use it in a way that resonates with us. That we are all unique and we're all different. And so by having that, we create the way that we use that tool. And in this style, it's very much like, how do you use runes? There's lots of different ways you can use the runes. What is the way that resonates with you? The other one that I put in this category is the I Ching, which is an ancient Chinese divination tool. It's foggy about the origins and who actually created it, but basically what it is an ancient Chinese book that has, well, it kind of reminds me of like tarot, but it has 64 hexagrams, and all the hexagrams are made up from yin and yang lines based on the elements and different things. And each one has a specific meaning, and it can be like a locked in meaning or a kind of move around kind of meaning, flexibility in the meaning. And basically they use coins. They don't have to be Chinese coins, but it's a heads and tails thing. And you use 3 coins, and there's always 4 options. There's 3 of heads, 3 of tails, or you could have 2 heads, 1 tail, or 2 tails, 1 head. And based on that, you would draw a line and create a hexagram, 6 rounds of tossing the coins, and you build the hexagram from the bottom up. And each line, based on the 4, has a meaning. So it'll be a yin, a yang, and I can't remember the term they used, but there's like a changing yin and a changing yang. So those all kind of create this hexagram, and then you look up the hexagram and go, okay, this is the meaning of what the hexagram I created. So there's 64 of those. So that one was kind of new. It's interesting, but it kind of had a tarot feel to me. But yeah, that's another one under casting. Now, the last category, then there's a random category. The last category is one where we use the images we see in what we're being shown. So typically we know tea leaves or coffee grinds. Turkish coffee grinds is another one that I've seen. And so you drink your tea, then you flip your cup upside down, and then the tea reader will read the tea leaves or the coffee grinds. I've also seen this done where you draw in the sand and they read the sand. There's lots of different ways of doing that one. You can, again, use your creativity and find something that kind of works. Does this kind of fall into the casting category? Kind of. It's kind of, because we're casting the tea leaves, casting the coffee grinds, but it's a little bit different. So I just made it its own category. The last group of things is kind of random ones. And there's lots of different things here that you can use. You can choose an object like crystals, colors, ribbons, like colored ribbons. But crystals all have a meaning. You could also use essential oils, what you're drawn to. They all have a specific meaning, something that is, connected to it, whether that's healing or just kind of what it's connected to spiritually, chakras, that sort of thing. So by choosing them, so I've done crystal readings where you have a bowl of crystals and somebody picks 3, and based on the crystals that they choose, you can kind of do a reading for them. I've seen it done with ribbons, colored ribbons, same thing. The colors all have to do with different feelings, emotions, chakras. So you could have someone choose 3 ribbons and then do a reading from the ribbons. One of the ones I love and I use a lot is automatic writing. This is a form of kind of, again, clearing your mind, taking pen to paper and just writing whatever comes out for you. You can ask a question to get an answer. You can just connect to an energy and get whatever it's going to share, a message. I love this one. It's one that really works for me, and I use quite a bit, probably almost on the daily. I love using automatic writing. I love journaling, so they go all hand in hand there. So, psychometry. This is using an object to connect to it. So maybe a picture, a piece of jewelry from a loved one that's passed, or a piece of clothing. You can use all sorts of different things. You could also do this like in nature, put your hand on a tree. But psychometry is reading the energy of an object. The last one, which I really hesitated to share because I'm not a fan, is spirit boards. My caution here is spirit boards, if not used properly, can be really detrimental. And I'm going to use the word dangerous, very lightly, dangerous to use. Often people that play with them are not connected to energies and are not taking the right precautions to be clear about the boundaries of what is allowed through said spirit board. I am not a fan. I will say it again. I am not a fan. I have people I know in my realm that use them very professionally, and they're great that way. But often, and once upon a time, they were sold as like a board game, like this entertainment thing. And again, if you're not clear about what you're opening yourself up to, you may not be reaching a source that is positive, is looking out for your best interest. And, this goes across the board. We really want to set an intention when using divination tools that is for the highest good of all, that we are connecting to the highest source of energy, that we are staying in a place of positivity, that we are asking for our own ego to step to the side. These are all important things. So I just caution you in using a spirit board, but it is a divination tool, so I'm including it. But again, I ask you to be cautious about using a spirit board. Now, this was just like a touch base on them all. We could probably do a podcast on each and every one of these. We're not going to right now, maybe down the road. Maybe we'll have some guests on who use these things, but they are great tools. So if you're looking to build your intuition, these are tools that you can use to build your intuition. Now, again, I'm going to say it one more time. If you are looking to learn how to read oracle cards and you are in the Hamilton, Ontario area and you want to join me on Wednesday, June 26th, I would love to have you there. You can register through my website to join me for that workshop. I'm even going to have cards there that you can use. You don't even have to bring your own. And you can start to dabble into this beautiful practice of using oracle cards. Again, if you want to hear about the difference between oracle and tarot cards, join me next week for next week's podcast. That's what I'm going to talk about next week, is the difference between oracle and tarot cards. And yeah, you can always reach out if you have questions about anything spiritual or divine. I also have a subscription group that is the Divine Map community, and it is a group that I do mentorship with. And each month we have a 1-hour mentoring session on Zoom, and everybody brings their questions, and we get to deep dive into the things that people personally want to know more about or that they're learning about. We also do a workshop every month on a different spiritual topic. There's a guided meditation, there's a healing meditation, an energy forecast, and live we also do a reading where I read for the group as a whole, and then we shut off the camera or the recording, and then I give personal readings to those that have joined me online. So it is, they mean so much to me. I love that community. They are fantastic and wonderful, and there's always room for more friends. If you want to join us there, check it out, Divine Map on my website. I think that's it. I've talked a lot. Grateful for you. Grateful for you being here and listening today. I'm always grateful for a review or follow me on social. I love seeing you all in my comments. Yeah, thanks for letting me be your spiritual tour guide today on this journey through divination tools from my heart and soul to yours. Until the next time, bye now.